Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Mohd Adli Farhan. My matric number is 181029. Today I will present you about my FYP project, final year project. Topic called Effect of Variation of Rainfall Threshold Affected Stability. As you can see, my supervisor is Madam IRTS Dr. Nohi Dayu Kasim. First and foremost, I will explain you about my outline for my FYP presentation. In my presentation, I will focus on 5 main parts. Firstly, I will explain about the introduction, followed by problem statement and objective. Next one is the literature review. After that is methodology. Last one is conclusion. So for the introduction, I will explain you about the general briefing of my FYP overall project. So, how does variation of rainfall threshold affect slope stability? When the rainfall threshold increase, the volume, water content also increase, and the pore water pressure also will increase. So, to discuss in detail, I will further at my FYP presentation. For problem statement, how does the landslide occurs? As you can see, the diagram on the left side show the picture of the landslide. So this landslide was caused when the shear strength along the critical slip surface of the soil no longer able to support the shear stress, and one of the major factor of this failure was caused by the rainfall itself. So in this FYP project, there are 3 main objectives. First is to determine the landslide rainfall threshold available in Malaysia. Second one is to determine factor of safety of the slope based on rainfall threshold using CW and slope W. Last one is to determine the best applicable rainfall threshold for the slope failure occurrence in Malaysia. So for the literature review, I will explain you the finding of my research based on the research study that had related to my FYP project. In order to understand the effect of variation of rainfall threshold to the slope stability, we need to understand about the mechanism of rainfall, how it affects the slope stability. Firstly, the rainfall will infiltrate into the soil. When the rainfall infiltrate, the water content and the pore water pressure will increase. This will cause a disturbance at the flux boundary condition along the ground surface. The change will reduce the effective stress and lowering the soil strength. Finally, the slope stability will be decreased and leads to slope failure. Okay, there are 5 factors that could affect rainfall infiltration. The reason I choose rainfall infiltration because rainfall infiltration is one of the major factors that can cause slope stability to fail, because and it's also directly related to the rainfall. So in 5 factor, in the first factor of the rainfall infiltration is the degree of saturation. Degree saturation is a ratio of volume of water to the volume of the void. Second one is the compression of the soil void. Third one is the vegetation. The reason vegetation was chosen because the vegetation will block the rainfall water into the soil, therefore decrease the rainfall infiltration. Fourth one is the topography, and the last one is the rainfall intensity. For the rainfall threshold, there are 2 methods to calculate the value. First one is the physical method, the second one is empirical method. As you can see at the diagram, show the site condition. So basically, physical method is based on site condition itself by using hydrodynamic and geotechnical mechanism. Meanwhile, the empirical method using the data from the cumulative rainfall amount, rainfall duration, or rainfall intensity to calculate the rainfall threshold value. So the slope parameter also important to understand because it also one of the variable to conduct modeling for the slope stability. There are 2 factors that need to be considered in slope parameter: the slope movement and the slope geometry. The slope movement is important to understand because it usually happen when the slope is unstable. For the slope geometry, as you can see, the steeper the ratio for the slope gradient, the higher the probability for the slope to fail. So next one, we proceed to the previous work. As you can see, there are 3 main articles that I choose for my 50 article, because these 3 main article I dependly heavy to do my FYP project. So the first one is the effect of variation in rainfall intensity on slope stability by Christo C. Raharjo H and Syed Naga A, published at 2017. So the method is using man candle test to analyze rainfall by using linear regression. So the result of the uh, test is the projected rainfall intensity in 2050 and 2100. So the next one is the analysis of influence of heavy rainfall on the slope stability by Zhao X, Sun Y, and Feng Q at 2018. So they using Farhan theory combined with finite element numerical simulation software and soil mechanic method. So the result they get is they get the rainfall time on the lower slope varies depending on the slope, the rainfall intensity. And the last one is the relationship between rainfall intensity and the slope stability based on numerical analysis by Lee MS, Kim GW 2009. So the method was they using a slope infiltration study using CIV and slope stability analysis is carried out by using slope W. So the finding revealed that the rainfall intensity has a greater impact on slope stability than accumulated rainfall. Next one is the methodology. So for the summary of methodology, firstly I will collect the data of the rainfall from the JPS, Jabatan Pengairan Selangor. Next one I will analyze the data in order to model the data. Third one is software analysis using CIV and slope W. Fourth one is for result analysis. I will compare it the result between cases. And last one I will discuss the every case of the result analysis and summary it into a table. So for as you can see, this is the website for data collection from the Department of Irrigation and Drainage JPS. Next one is slope analysis. So for the software analysis using CW, as you can see, this diagram show the pore water pressure. So the purpose of the CW is to determine pore water pressure based on variation of rainfall threshold on the respective slope, and the pore water pressure also will be used for slope W modeling. So next one is I will explain about the software analysis on the slope W. So the purpose of the slope W is to calculate factor of safety based on the respective slope and rainfall threshold. It also to determine whether the slope was stable or unstable. So conclusion. So in the conclusion, most of the objective was not achieved because most of the objective is based on the result. So the result was will be continue for the next semester final year project 2. However, the understanding of slope stability and the effect rainfall variation were again from the study and the research done throughout this FYP1. So next one I will explain you about my future work during my FYP2 at the Gantt chart. So firstly, as you can see, I correct the rainfall data from the Jabatan Pengairan Selangor. Next, I will tabulate the data. After that, I will analyze the data. Then I will use the software CW and slope W to model the rainfall data. After that, I will analyze the result from the software. Then we proceed to result discussion, conclusion. Then I will proceed to recommendation. Lastly, I will submit to supervisor for checking. After all the FIP were correct and no mistake, I will proceed to submission to coordinator. Okay, that's all from me. Thank you.